We will retest it. Yeah, maybe I thought it should be clear. Yeah. Hey, Baba, can you hear us? We can hear you now. Okay, perfect. Perfect.
So see. What do you It's fine. I just need to one more. There's still time. The next time they're starting already. We're late. Ladies, did you enjoy lunch? If you enjoyed lunch, let me hear you say yeah, yeah. If you enjoyed lunch, let me hear you say thank you, Nafa. Now I want you to face the screen. Look in front of you. The next panel is about to begin. And listen, we have very special guests all the way from the United States of America. They're going to be joining us virtually. And they need to know that Naija know they carry last. They need to know that Naija know they carry last. They need to know that the ladies have the energy, yeah? So we're going to practice something. When you hear what do we say, you say Brownsnigeria. What do we say? What do we say? What do we say? All right, I think you guys are ready. You guys are ready. Let's on screen. Start to wave. Everybody start to wave, start to wave, start to wave. Big wave, big hands. What do we say? Open up. What do we say? Keep waving. I don't think they can see us, but that was a good practice. That was a good practice. You ladies are ready. Very, very good. That ginger is good. Very nice. Everybody start to wave, start to wave, start to wave. What's up? What do you say? One more time. Very nice. The next panel is on visibility and innovation, amplifying women's voices in sports. And I'm going to take it over to our moderator, Nayeli. Can you hear us? Nayeli, can you hear us? Yes, we can. Everybody say hi, Nayeli. What do we say? All right, Nayeli, the floor is all yours. Introduce your rest of the gang and take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us today. We're coming in live all the way from Cleveland, Ohio, so here in the United States, and we're so excited to be part of this awesome launch event for the Gridiron Gems. Real quick, my name is Nayeli Pozuelos, and I'm the Cultural and Grassroots Marketing Coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. So a little bit about the Cleveland Browns. We are the only NFL team that has marketing rights in Nigeria. So our goal is to really grow the sport of American football and celebrate the Nigerian community. So we're so excited to partner with Nafa, and a huge shout out to Baba, Nancy, and the rest of the Nafa team for allowing us to be part of this huge celebration with you all. And we're so excited because growing the game of girls flag football is an important initiative for us at the Browns. So we're so excited to see the Gridiron Gems program grow in Nigeria. And yeah, so today's panel is going to be all about visibility and innovation, really amplifying women's voices in sports. And so today, all our panelists here are representing the Cleveland Browns, and these are all trailblazers in their respective fields and disciplines. And they'll share a little bit about their journey within sports, as well as the importance of representation, digital platforms, and storytelling. And then not only that, but we'll also talk about personal growth, professional growth, and showing the positive impact of financial support, whether it's through scholarships or other opportunities. So whether you're on or off the field, you guys are all at the forefront of the growth of girls flag football in Nigeria, and we're so excited to be here. So we'll get right into it with some introductions from each of our panelists. We'll go around, everyone will give their name and give a little bit about what they do at the Cleveland Browns. So I'll turn it over to Lydia.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lydia Jules, and I am the legal coordinator here at the Cleveland Browns. So we kind of just deal with the legal side of everything here within the organization. We work with every single department with whatever needs that they have across the season, in season, out of season, and things of that nature. I'm super excited to be here. Well, I can't wait to get started. Lizzie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lizzie Heidrich, and I'm the manager of the Browns Foundation. I'm going into my 4th season with the Browns and my 9th in the NFL, working in the community space. The Browns Foundation is a separate 501c3 nonprofit organization, so our work is a little bit different than others, but still very connected within the organization. As a public foundation and nonprofit, part of my role is fundraising. We do that through 2 key fundraisers, our 50-50 raffle, which is on game days, and a golf tournament, which takes place in the off season. But the bulk of my time is spent on programming specifically focused on education and school attendance for students throughout Ohio. So really building and maintaining those relationships with school districts, planning events, and providing fun opportunities to support students and their families.
And my name is Hannah Lee. I'm the manager of youth football, so overseeing youth and high school football here in Northeast Ohio. We oversee 13 different counties. Focuses on the game of flag football, tackle football, and then working with coaches, officials, and parents, and just making sure there's a cohesive environment. And our biggest goal is increasing participation and then making sure there's equitable access. And then obviously working with Nayeli and the team over at Brownsnigeria and everybody on that side. So just continuing to grow the game and making sure that girls have the opportunity to play football. Wish we could be there today, but excited to be here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor Young. I'm the Director of Football Administration for the Cleveland Browns. The vast majority of my role is really salary cap and compliance. So I work most closely with our athletes, our football personnel, and our football coaches. Most of what I do is negotiating our player contracts and ensuring that we are within our salary cap limits. In addition to salary cap management, roster management, it's a lot of compliance. So making sure that we're abiding by our CBA, which is the governing body of our league, and making sure that we're in compliance throughout the entire year.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joy Tajek. I'm the Director of Football Operations and Process. I'm going into my 5th year with the Browns. I have a really awesome opportunity to work both in player personnel and football operations. In player personnel, I do scouting of college prospects and also of pro athletes that we might be interested in acquiring for our team. And then on the football operations side, I help manage and collaborate with our health, performance, equipment, video, team operations. So my everyday is pretty broad and very collaborative, and I've very much enjoyed my experience. Like Hannah said, I wish we could be there with you guys, but super that you invited us and we're getting to talk with you today.
Awesome. So thank you to all our panelists for your introductions. We'll get right into our first question, which covers the importance of visibility and representation in sports media and in sports in general. So I'll turn it over to Hannah, who has been really championing the growth of girls flag football here in Ohio. Hannah, why is visibility and representation in sports media so important for women, especially at the grassroots and youth levels?
Yeah, so I started back here in 2021, so this is entering my 5th season, and it's gone by really fast, and we've seen a ton of growth. And just over the past 3 years, the landscape of youth and high school football has really transformed dramatically, and there's been a significant investment in female sports. And now we're seeing just how impactful that investment has been on the next generation. So you think about the growth from the WNBA, the NWSL, and then just the recent investment of the addition of flag football in the 2028 Olympics. These milestones have really opened up doors for young girls to envision themselves in spaces that they probably didn't see as a possibility previously. So now I find myself with a front row seat to that growth, and really overseeing the growth and expansion of girls flag in Northeast Ohio and really the state. So collaborating with some other stakeholders as well. And I receive emails and texts daily from parents who want to sign their daughter up for girls flag only leagues and the increased number of high school teams that we have here. So the momentum is undeniable in girls flag booming. So doubling from 30 high schools in 2024 to now 60 high schools in 2025. That glass ceiling is really shattered, and young girls can now dream of becoming Olympians and having a football and handball doing it. So it's been incredible to witness the evolution. Even more exciting to imagine where this visibility and representation take us.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. You know, Hannah, kudos to her and her team, what they're doing here in Northeast Ohio and Ohio and across the state. It's amazing to see. And now that, you know, partnering with Nafa and seeing the growth that's going to come for Nigerians all across the country is so exciting to be a part of. So thanks for sharing, Hannah. And on that same topic of visibility and representation, you know, sports have always been very male dominated, both on the field and off the field. So I'll turn it over to a couple of our other panelists to expand beyond that, specifically asking, why do you think it's important for people to see more women in sports, whether it's in the media like TV, news, social media, or even internally in organizations like the Cleveland Browns? So how about you, Taylor? What do you think? Why is it important?
It's really critical for people to see more women in sports, whether that's in the media or within individual organizations like the Cleveland Browns, simply because representation matters. When we see women in these roles, whether it's on the field or in front of the camera or in leadership positions internally, it challenges kind of the notion that sports are a male-dominated arena. When women can be represented more broadly, it can inspire young girls and other women to dream bigger and to see that they too can play, they can coach, they can lead right alongside our male counterparts. In short, the visibility that women hold within this industry creates a lot of possibilities, and I think that that's something that everyone can benefit from.
Awesome, awesome. What about you, Lizzie? Why do you think it's important for people to see more women in sports?
I think visibility in general is super important. Just showing the different ways that people and women can get involved in sports. You can see in this room, there's a lot of different avenues and ways to get in to working for a team like the Browns or another sports organization. And most men and women aren't going to be able to play at that professional level. So just providing visibility into those other ways that you can still stay connected to the sport. Opportunities like you can work in marketing, creative, you can be a coach, community work like some of us do here, you can work on grounds crew. So for me, it's also just creating the visibility of the different types of roles. And so people and young people can see themselves and see their pathway forward as they're going through their education and exploring different career opportunities.
That's awesome. What about you, Joy? Anything you'd like to add?
Well, to be completely honest, in my initial journey of interest in joining football, I had thought for the longest time, if I wanted to work in football, I needed to be an on-field reporter, because that's the only kind of exposure that I got, at least on the American side. So I had planned out this path and researched various reporters, like where they went to school, what they had majored in, and I knew that I was going to do a career pivot. As I was doing my research and just started opening the aperture for more of what women are actually doing in the field, realizing that there are women scouts, realizing that there are women who work in the front office like Taylor, managing contracts with players, realizing that there are senior women in the organization like we have here, Assistant General Manager Kat Hickman. It really just opened my eyes like, oh, wow, there's a lot more opportunities within an organization, and you don't necessarily have to have had that career path for your entire time. There's other different ways. So just the fact that those stories are being shared, whether it's through an interview that's posted on the team's website or on Instagram or on X, or it's a YouTube sponsored event and it's downloaded and I can watch it later, or it's a news article that I can read. It really opened my eyes, and I just started going down several paths of research and really appreciating that there's more opportunities than just the one job that I was aiming for.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And
as you all have heard, from our panelists, visibility and representation is so important because you never know what paths there are. And so you see people who look like you, or who have similar backgrounds to you. And you can dream and you can do anything you like. And seeing that representation, especially within sports, whether you're an athlete on the field and seeing, athletes striving to for the national team and wanting to go to the Olympics, or behind the scenes working for a sports organization, the possibilities are endless, and that representation really, really does make a huge impact. So I want to ask if there are any stories that our panelists have heard, specific people, or stories about women in sports that have really inspired you, and why did it stand out? So I'll turn it over to Lydia. Do you have anyone that really inspired you?
Yeah, no, there's a woman, her name is Nicole Lynn, and she sports agent. She currently represents athletes. She started off, funny enough, I would encourage you guys to look into her story if you can, but she talks about how when she was first starting out in the industry, she went to a practice or a game, I believe, and she was waiting off to the side for a player she wanted to beat. And he comes off, and I guess he wasn't expecting he was going to see, and he just laughs at her in her face. And he walks off. And she speaks about the story. She has a YouTube video where she goes in depth, and there's some nuances. She speaks about how that story it really pushed her to keep going. And a little bit later, there's twists and turns, but she then gets a first round draft pick. A little bit later on, she kind of speaks to that story in the sense that her draft pick was, he was going to go first round regardless of who was representing him, right? And so he mentioned to her that he knew the weight that it was going to be for women in sports, and how that was going to propel women in sports forward in that space. And so he went with Nicole Lynn, and now she's doing amazing things. She's currently representing one of our players, Miles Garrett, as well. So it was, I think, for her story, what made it stand out to me is that it showed me that at the end there's an intersection between perseverance and opportunity. And it's this reality that sometimes you can only control what you do, and that opportunity can come whenever, right? You never know when somebody can come and give you a job, give you a call to say this is open, or whatever the case may be. And we'll kind of talk a little bit more about it as we do this panel. But a lot of times jobs aren't posted, or a lot of times things aren't online for you to see, and so a lot of things are word of mouth within this industry. And so I think hearing that story made me realize that a lot of what my day-to-day is going to be grinding. It's going to be working. It's going to be doing what I can to be my best, and to present my best present myself in the best way possible, because you never know when that opportunity is going to come knocking, and when somebody's going to have an opportunity for you. And I think for her as well, she was one of the, now she's one of the premier agents in this space. And before then, she didn't have anybody to, right? And so it's just interesting to see that trajectory for her. And now, for me, if I wanted to get into, sports agency, I have somebody to look to. So I think the other piece of that as well that I learned is that we kind of shoulder a little bit of that responsibility for each other, to make sure that we're doing what we need to do. Because, if you guys do want to enter into these roles, enter into these spaces, that there's not only room for you, but it's going to be that much easier for you to come in through that. So I would say 100% Nicole.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing your inspiration. Definitely, if you guys get a chance to look into Nicole Lynn's story, she's an amazing person with an amazing story. So make sure to follow along her journey within sports. And I'll ask Taylor the same question. Anyone in particular that stood out to you as you were first pursuing a career in sports?
Of course, I grew up a sports fan. I was never gifted to be a professional athlete, and knew that very, very early on. So I always grew up as a fan, and that's an amazing thing. I think that's what all of us are. To Joy's earlier point, growing up, the exposure that I had to women in sports was really on TV. It was broadcasters, and that's really where you see women. So as I first started pursuing a career in sport, even before I knew that it was possible, my inspiration was Lisa Salters, who's a broadcaster and a really pivotal storyteller for ESPN. She always stood out to me, not only because she was one of very few female broadcasters, but she also looked like me. So the visibility and the representation is really, really powerful. Her kind of her presence, the fact that she existed in that industry, being one of very, very few women, really ignited my interest in even working in sport, and really made me believe that I too could work in the industry and that there was space for me to hold here, whether that's broadcasting and as we'll kind of talk later. There's so many avenues in sport that you all can hold, that we all can hold, but I think it really ties, full circle of the fact that representation and visibility of this is crucial.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I think just hearing a little bit about, your start in sports and what really inspired you. I'd love to hear from Joy. Can you share a little bit about your background and how you became the director of football operations and process, and give some advice to younger girls who want to play sports or work in sports but don't feel seen or supported?
Oh, definitely. Wonderful question. Thanks for asking and the opportunity. I think I'll start a little bit before I joined football. Before I was here with the Browns, I was in the Navy for about 11 years. Before being in the Navy, I was at the Naval Academy for 4 years. And at the Naval Academy, I was a videographer for our football team. So that was my first exposure as a non-fan of the sport. I grew up in Texas, and in Texas, football is part of everyday life. People go to church talking about football, and it's literally that important. And I knew that I was a fan, but when I got to the Naval Academy and I was asked if I wanted to be a manager, I didn't really know what that meant. And I showed up and they handed me a video camera and said, "Oh, you get the opportunity to film practice and you get the opportunity to film game." I thought, wow, this is a really cool thing, and it gets me out of all the mandatory military things that I had to do at the academy, like formation and marching. So it sounded and it felt kind of like a win-win. Fast forward, I did 11 years active duty in the Navy, and in my last couple of years there, I was stationed in the Washington, D.C. area, which is close to Annapolis and close to the Naval Academy. So I decided to re-volunteer for the football program, and there planted the seed that I could possibly do this as a career. When I told you guys earlier I was researching possible opportunities, that's when I started navigating and figuring out a path of potentially joining a football team or just working professionally in football. I started learning about college football programs and how there are so many women working in recruiting, whether it was on-campus recruiting, off-campus recruiting, or in operations. Again, the aperture and awareness of what women could do in football and were already doing in football, it was just like a huge learning experience for me. So through that learning process, I got connected with a couple of NFL executives who championed this really awesome program that gave me my opportunities today. It's the NFL Women's Forum. That honestly was a lot of my gateway into learning of other women's roles, whether it was coaching, scouting, football administration, you name it. I was fortunate enough to attend that forum, and in that forum, I got to meet General Manager Andrew Berry, our owner, Dee Haslam, one of our coaches. That she was with us then. She's now with the U.S. flag Olympic team. I'm not saying that, but Callie Brownson. And it was fantastic. I fell in love with the culture of the Browns through getting to meet them. I knew immediately when engaging with them that this was a place where women were given an opportunity to thrive. Women were not necessarily seen as women, but seen as professionals who would have any opportunity, no matter what you were gender-wise or what your perspective. Was very much encouraged that you had a different view of things and a very collaborative environment. So that's how I got my transition into the Cleveland Browns. Been here since. I joined with a hybrid role like I have now, where I get to do both player personnel and football operations. And really that's just because of the vision of our general manager, Andrew Berry. He thought, based on my background as a naval officer, that I could bring something unique and different to the table So a little bit to answer your second question about how younger girls who want to play or work in sports but don't necessarily feel seen or supported, I think it was very beneficial for me personally to lean into the male counterparts who were willing to give me an opportunity and willing to talk to me and mentor me, whether it was through a formal or informal capacity. As I was doing my research, I wasn't going about it alone. I was leaning into people in the Navy football program and asking them more about, can you teach me when I'm watching film? Because I am interested in this scouting process. Like, can you teach me a little bit more when I'm watching this player? What traits and tools am I looking for? How do I articulate that? Teach me more about what it is you do. I would call and connect with other women who are currently in the sport and ask them about their job and try to find commonalities with my previous career. And I'm still doing that today here in this organization and learning from many of the women. And I continue to build on that in my role. So all that to answer your question, to your point, a different path indeed. And before I had closed myself off thinking that wasn't possible, that it was just very linear one path, when it actually has not been the case.
Thank you for sharing. I think that's awesome, and it should serve as inspiration knowing that, life can take you down one path, but so many paths can branch off from that. And, having that passion for sports from a young age was critical, and, that stuck with you throughout your life. And now you're here, working for an NFL organization, the Cleveland Browns, and being a trailblazer within your space. And so we're so happy to have you here, and thank you for sharing. So now we're going to pivot a little bit, talk a little bit more about the amplification of storytelling in digital media and why that's so important, it's especially for girls flag football. So I'll turn it over to Hannah. How can organizations intentionally invest in storytelling and media campaigns to highlight women athletes and professionals? And have the Browns done anything specifically with the storytelling surrounding girls flag football?
For me, I always come back to the quote of "If you build it, they will come," and that sentiment has really held true for the growth that we've seen in girls flag in that space as a whole. So back in 2021, when we started, we had just a small little league that we did through an organization in Northeast Ohio, and then in the spring of 22 was when we started our first pilot league. And really, it was a challenge to get high schools to consider starting a program. You think about Ohio football in the tackle space. I mean, it's one of the dominant states when it comes to tackle football. We have some really awesome athletes that come out of here, specifically in the Northeast Ohio area. And so the few schools that did place their trust in me and the relationship that we had built, it was special to really have those girls be the foundation and really blaze that trail of, hey, you can play like football and you have a place here. So at the time, our first league in 2022, I could count on my hands the number of teams that we had, and it was 9. So to go from 9 to 60 high schools currently is a huge step and a huge part of that growth. So I think through consistent advocacy, persistence, and just the unwavering support from the Browns organization and our leadership team, it now speaks for itself. So we've gone from that 2 to 60, like I said, and we've developed a real feeder system for now our youth athletes and youth leagues where flag football is now the primary sport for young girls, which, 10 years ago, you would have never thought. So now when the organization believes in the vision and really consistently invests in it and trusts, their staff, that's when it really aligns and you get the attention, storytelling, and that buy-in from the community. So it's not a one-person effort. It really does take a team, and dozens of people have played a role in making this happen. So looking back, it's just been really incredible to see how far we've come, and even more exciting to see where we're headed. And as we go into the 2020 Olympics, Joy mentioned Callie Brownson, who's with USC football. So it's cool to see her transition out of the Browns and now with USC football, and hopefully we have some athletes that are part of that Olympic team.
That's awesome. I think me, so working on the marketing side and seeing all the great work that our youth football team and Hannah is doing to really elevate the experience for female athletes, especially in the flag football space, has been truly amazing to see. And as she said, growing from 9 teams to 60, the growth is here in Northeast Ohio, and it's only going to continue growing. And so we're excited to see in Nigeria, with all of you, all the players, all the refs, all the coaches who, you guys are building the foundation for girls flag football through the Gridiron Gems program, and really huge shout out to Nafa for spearheading all this, and we're so happy to be a part of it. And so touching a little bit more on the digital and social media side, I'm pretty sure all of you guys are on social media. You're on platforms like TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and everything else. So we've seen these platforms help get girls and women in sports noticed. So opening it up to a couple of people on the panel relating to your sports brand. Why is it important to build your own personal brand? And what have you done specifically to build your brand? And how has that helped you to where you are today? So I'll turn it over to Lydia.
No, that's a great question. And I think we're in a very technological age where everybody's online. And there is a lot of great ways to utilize these platforms. You mentioned, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. There's a lot of really great ways to do so. I do want to hit on, though, we talked about how we personally developing our brands. Kind of the offline piece of it a little bit real fast, because I think your personal brand, obviously, you want it to align, right? So if you're saying that you are, super hardworking, you're taking all these, cool videos and pictures of like your experiences and all the things. And then, in person, it's a different story. It needs to align, right? Like who you are needs to align with who you're presenting yourself to be online. Because a lot of times, and again, I mentioned this before, it's a very word of mouth space, right? People are talking, people want to know that, this person that I'm hiring, this person that I'm giving this opportunity to is not going to squander, but they're going to really utilize it, whether it's, to propel themselves or, to propel other people forward as well. So I think for me, when it comes to personal brand, it's just being diligent about what I'm doing in my role every single day, but not just at work, off of work, just whatever I'm doing, I'm making sure that aligns with what my core values are, with what, I'm standing by. Because you want people to be able to speak to you, right? So they are saying, I know that Naomi is super hardworking. I know that, she's talented. She's all these different things, and I can speak to that because I know her. And I can speak to her personal brand. And so I think for me, a lot of that personal brand building happens, offline, right? And then if you're doing it right, it trickles online, right? It's natural. It's just how you post and how you interact with people online. It just kind of is all cohesive and it comes together. And so I think, kind of finish that piece. But again, like digital media, we talked about it, it is a great tool to amplify. Keyword amplify was already there, right? So it's kind of just, you're showing people, what's going on, how you're navigating different things. I think that as it relates to personal brand, it's a little bit different, right? Because everybody is so unique. And I think it's also a really great opportunity to feed into that uniqueness, right? So my page and my whatever I'm doing online may look very different than what Taylor's doing. And I think it's a really great opportunity to utilize these platforms to really just to show who you are, to show what you're bringing to the table that's not going to be, similar to somebody else or whatever the case may be, because we, just into it a little bit. That's what this whole panel is about, is, being a multifaceted individual and how your perspective is going to aid whatever it is that we're doing within sports and whatever organization. It's probably be a really boring panel because it's just a bunch of me, right? Just, 6 weeks here, but having these different perspectives, having these different people at the table provides a level of depth that wouldn't have if it was all the same person. So I would say when it comes to personal branding, really lean into who you are and your uniqueness as an individual.
Lydia, you make all great points. I think what really resonated with who you are as a person offline and using the online tools to amplify that. So making sure you're secure within yourself, your skills, your work ethic, and really building that. And then using those platforms as a resource, as a tool to really showcase who you are, but staying true to yourself at the same time. So Taylor, would you like to add anything to this question?
Sure. I think building your own personal brand is one of the more important things that we as individuals can do in today's world, especially with how social media has completely skyrocketed. And why? It's because that's how you're viewed among people who don't know you. And a lot of times this is not super intentional. Like I don't sit down and think like, what is my brand? And here's something. It's really not strategic. It's how you're viewed and received to others, which is really, really important, whether it's a professional job or just in life. And I think building your own personal brand is not about self-promotion and promoting yourself. It's, to Lydia's point, really about crafting a story that reflects your values, your skills, your interests, and your own unique perspective. For me, building out my brand has really been consistently about showing up as my authentic self. Personal branding is not being perfect, but I do feel that it's about being consistent and intentional with how you show up among peers and among strangers. And once you kind of you're posting things that you're genuinely interested in, and you can show your true authentic self, it's going to allow you, it's allowed me to create a network of like-minded professionals and mentors.
And that networking piece is key, especially, as a female in sport, whether you're working in sports, whether you're playing, coaching, repping, that's going to be a huge piece, just in general moving forward. And Joy, would you like to add anything on your end?
I'm terrible at building my personal brand, and I'm taking notes here from Lydia and Taylor on how to be better at it. But I'll answer your question a little bit differently. I use these platforms to learn more. There's so much content that is available, particularly on X, that I've found very beneficial to learn more about coaches and how they see the sport and what they think about sports, specifically schemes, and how they view coach development and leadership. I also use it to get to know more about other teams as a contributor to our pro scouting. I consume very regularly other teams in our division or just other teams across the league. So all they think about their team, get the latest information on injuries or roster transactions. So for me, social media has been very eye-opening in terms of how much open source information is available that I can use to learn, whereas otherwise maybe it would have been closed off to like specific circles of people having conversations. But I'll get better at my brand, possibly through LinkedIn. You can find me there, but otherwise, yeah, that's how I use the social media.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I think all three panelists really honed in on the importance of your personal brand, using social media as a tool, amplifying your brand, but also the education piece is huge because you can really use social media for good to continue growing yourself and learning from others who are in the spaces that you're interested in. So thank you to all three of our panelists who answered that question. We're going to pivot a little bit on the importance of opportunities and scholarships. So we'll hear from both Lizzie and Hannah, but for Lizzie specifically, so here at the Cleveland Browns, education is a pillar of our foundation and plays a huge role in everything we do when it comes to schools and community. So Lizzie, you as the manager of the Browns Foundation, you and your team work tirelessly to provide more opportunities to students with all different backgrounds, all across. So what are some of the things that the Browns Foundation is doing to help level the playing field for all students in Ohio?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, the Browns Foundation is really focused, our mission is focused around education. And we are pretty unique as a sports team foundation, that our work is super narrowly focused within that broader scope on school attendance. So a lot of our work is focused on improving school attendance through the Stay in the Game network. And we know if kids are in school, they're more likely to read on grade levels, they're more likely to graduate high school on time. When they graduate, they're going on to careers or higher education. So it's critically important that students know how important it is to go to school every day, but to also have the resources to get there. So, there are many reasons why students are not able or don't go to school every day. So in recognition, the Browns teamed up with the Ohio Department of Education and Proving Ground out of Harvard University to launch Stay in the Game. And we provide free resources to school districts throughout the state of Ohio to help figure out why kids aren't coming to school and come up with ways to encourage them to get regularly and help overcome some of those barriers so they can go on to work in sports or wherever they might want to work in their chosen field. So we play a really cool role as a sports team, helping students get excited about coming to school and partnering with Hannah and her youth football team to bring youth football into schools, into the classroom. So kids are going to school to play flag, but they're also there learning and getting those critical skills. And so our goal is really that we're trying to have kids more in school more regularly to get those better educational outcomes so they can go on higher ed to career, be successful in sports or in any other field they're interested in.
Yeah, I've seen firsthand the work that our foundation has done here at the Browns, and the work they're doing is amazing. And so we see that education is a very important piece for that future success. And through sports and education, combining both, this can lead to potential scholarship opportunities. And so I'll turn it over to Hannah. What role do scholarships and financial visibility play in giving more girls access to sport and the spotlight?
Yeah, as a former collegiate athlete, I played college soccer, I played goalkeeper. So to earn a scholarship and have my career in college and then being able to get an education at a really low cost was huge for me and my family. So now I was in a position to play the sport and then was also able to kind of understand the landscape of working in sports and what that looked like. So to now see flag football being offered as a college scholarship and girls can earn that and go to school and get an education, it's opened up a lot of doors. So creating good opportunities and girls earn scholarships, they can do a higher education and compete at a really high level. And now they, once they graduate and they're allowed to go in school, they can become motivated at the same time. So a decade ago, that probably wouldn't have been part of the conversation, but now it is. And even after every event that we do that's girls flag related, whether it's a panel discussion or it's a clinic, or even going out and watching some of the flag games, every single time I'll have an athlete that will come up to me and ask, like, hey, can you help me earn college scholarship? Hey, what schools are offering women's flag football? It's really, really special, and I think it speaks volumes to the opportunities, the doors that have opened to these young girls, and the visibility around it has been really tremendous with the NCAA now recognizing it as an emerging sport. So now athletes have the chance to compete at the Division 1, 2, or 3 level, probably representing their school as an athlete and being able to rep that school here. So that's what happens when you really put an investment and belief into a sport. The visibility rises and the opportunities come.
Thanks for sharing, Hannah. I think it's amazing to see the growth of women's sports and girls flag specifically. Seeing the opportunities, for scholarships and playing beyond and professionally is super cool to see, and we're excited to see the continued growth in Nigeria. So I know we have a couple minutes left, so one last question for each of our panelists to kind of end this panel. Whether it's through content creation, administration, on the field, or your respective vertical, what is one piece of advice that you would give to a younger girl interested in shaping the future of sports? And then I'll turn it over to Joy.
One piece of advice would be to not make any assumptions about the path or the road that you're going to take to get there, because it might not be what you envision, and be flexible and willing to pivot. Pivoting is a good thing if it doesn't mean it's straight to. And then, you asked for one, but I'll give a second one. My second piece of advice would be to find mentors or partners through your projects, goals, questions, because there are others out there with similar interests, especially with the grassroots initiative that I think helps the force make greater than just one.
I'll tag along next. My advice to younger girls and all women, I would just say be completely relentless in pursuing what you love. There's space for all of us, for all skill sets, for all talents. Whether you're interested in content creation, operations, administration, coaching, being an athlete, I think the first step is knowing and really believing that you do belong in this conversation. The future of where football is going is going to be shaped by people like you all and like us and people who are bold enough to challenge the status quo, and be bold enough to step up and bring their own special and unique vision to the table. Historically, women have had, it feels like, had to fight for a space in the sports world, and that's changing, and that's really exciting. So be completely relentless in pursuing what you love, and know that your voice now matters more than ever.
I will follow up to Taylor. My advice would be find something that you love and make a career out of it. I love sports as a whole, so I was able to find a role that was football focused and then also focused on youth. And I love making sure that I'm giving generation. So that would be my advice. Find something you love, make a career out of it. If you love math, maybe you can look at accounting. If you love social media, maybe take a look at social media marketing or digital marketing. Like there's spaces and opportunities for you to be successful. And for me, I have an alarm every morning at 7:50 because that's when I need to leave the house for work. And the label of it is it's bigger than me because I know that my job and what I do is much bigger than me and it's impacting generations to come. So that would be my advice.
My advice, along with everything that's already been said, I would kind of double down of really exploring all the different ways that you can use your skill set to get to where you want to go, and know that it's not just one way to work in sports, but you can really follow your passion and what you're good at and what your background is in, and find that niche that fits your passions and what you want to do moving forward. And I would also just say lean into the relationships that you have and be curious to learn from others around you, because we've said it many times on this panel, but a lot of what you're doing to get into these roles is relationship building, but also within the organization, it's very collaborative, and having those relationships and good relationships with your coworkers is going to be crucial.
Awesome. This is great advice, guys. I'm nervous to follow up, but I would say the landscape is so broad. There's so much uncharted territory. And so I think my advice is to kind of piggyback off of what everybody's saying. You know, there's so much that you can do, and what you want to do might not even be a thing yet, right? And so we talked about being very authentic to yourself, leaning into whatever your unique talents, your abilities are. Because you could be a trailblazer, right? You could be the one that's going to open the door for everybody behind you. The one that's going to, look at something one type of way that nobody's ever looked at it in that way before. And so I think my advice is just to lean into whatever unique talents that you have. Don't hide it and try to, conform to the people around you. Don't try to blend in. Our superpower is to step out of the status quo. So really lean into that because it'll work out. I think, and I won't kind of speak to that. Work on it, it'll work out for you.
I actually have one more. Thank you. Sorry. It's not a piece of advice. It's actually a request. From what I understand, there's a lot of leaders in this room right now who have the opportunity to have such great impact on the future of football in Nigeria. And a little bit back to my story about my opportunity with the Browns, I had envisioned myself in a specific role, but because my leader, Andrew Berry, envisioned something different and challenged me to accept something different, I have the opportunities that I have today. So as a leader, my request to you all is to be visionaries and to see beyond what has been done before and be open to be flexible to whatever your vision is, and growing past that and leaning into all the very unique people you have in the room who have such unique skills and such unique ideas, and allowing that to grow.
Thank you all for sharing. I'll leave with one last piece of advice before we end today's session. I always say, be a sponge. So really be open to learning as much as possible, listening to others, and really doing your best, putting your best foot forward to continue growing your skill set, being authentically yourself, and just being comfortable with you, but also being comfortable with being comfortable with uncomfortableness. So stepping outside of your comfort zone and really learning as much as possible, whether you're on the field and growing your skill set as a player, or if you're interested in coaching or repping. We need more coaches and refs in Nigeria. So please Step outside of your comfort zone, be a sponge, and we can all work together to really grow flag football across Nigeria. So I'll leave it off with that. Thank you so much for all of you guys for listening today. Thank you for having us in the rock for this and for Nafa. Thank you all for really creating a launch event, and thank you all.
All right, let's everybody in the all say thank you, Browns. Thank you, Browns. So on behalf of every one of us, we appreciate you greatly. We say a very big thank you for being a part of this initiative. We say a very big thank you for making our time to do this along with us. You could have just said to us that, well, go on and do what you want to do. We're so busy, but you still took out the time to do these alongside with us. Thank you very much. Okay, that was a good. We're going to be having the last panel session for the day. But before then, let's just see some visuals. Just a few minutes.
I'm someone that is very, very shy. I don't have confidence anytime I go for competition. Since I started going for the American flag football competition, which we won in the Premier League, which is our state league. So since then, I had this great confidence that, yeah, I can go on.
We started from Lagos State in season 1 to give birth to this thing in Nigeria. We saw participation where the kids had that kind of enthusiasm to take the game to the next level.
My name is Itibudo Ifeom. I am from Akwa Ibom State, and I played offense and defense. In offense, I played quarterback and also wide receiver, and in defense, I play safety.
So I choose a role which is the DB, which is known as the defense. So I play, I run, and I also catch balls.
Flag football is a game that involves tactics. Like, you just have to be smart. You have to play smart on the field in order for you to make a touchdown.
First touchdown, first touchdown. Let's go.
When they brought the American flag football to my school, when I saw the way they played, I had this kind of joy, or like, let me give a try. So I went to meet my coach and was like, okay, I can join the team. When I started training, I had this kind of confidence that if I should start playing this game, I'll be very good in it.
When I was playing football, I didn't have enough speed because then I was the goalkeeper. But now I can testify I can run fast and as fast as I can. And also fast thinking. I can detect where the ball is going to and also how to remove the flag.
As a quarterback, I know I don't know how to run, but for my throws, yes, I can give accurate throws, and I found a place in this game that I can fit in.
I've learned how to
It's like they are enjoying the video. Okay, all right, we'll still have so much time to watch that. But let's quickly go on to the last but not the least panel session. You know, it's fantastic when I see Men that are called E for she. Men that support women. Men that women are not afraid to blow when they are around. You know, there are some men that the women around them they are afraid to blow. But we have this fantastic man in our midst today that will be taking the final session for today. And the theme for the final session is leveling the playing field, men and women in sports. That's fantastic. I think it's good to give them a big round of applause. Let me call the panelists to the podium. First on my list, I have Steve Wambweze. Steve Wambweze is a partner, team lead in dispute resolution team in Patchstone and Grace LP. He also heads the sports and entertainment team of the firm. Steve obtained his LLB honors from University of Nigeria, Nsukka, in the year 2008. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a big round of applause. So next I want to call onto this podium, Sheye Obatolu. Sheye Obatolu is an accomplished energy executive with over 15 years of experience across Nigeria, South Africa, the UK, and Iraq. He has a strong background in project development, and Sheye is also the co-founder of Nigerian American Football Association. A big round of applause for him. His leadership reflects a passion of sustainable development, innovation, and creating platforms that empowers the next generation, both on and off the field. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Sheye Obatolu. So the man that we all know, that we've seen earlier today, and that's been up and down so that this can be a very big success. Please, with a big round of applause, please welcome with me to this podium, Babajide Akeredolu. He serves as president of the Nigerian American Football Association, Nafa, a non-profit organization that primarily focuses on the promotion and development of American football in Nigeria. He holds 2 master's degrees in chemical engineering from the Colorado School of Mines and in the mining engineering from Queen's University, Canada. Over the past decade, Babajide has held various roles, culminating in his appointment as a special advisor and Director General of the Ondo State Performance and Project Implementation Monitoring Unit, the first subnational delivery unit to be recognized by the African Development Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Babajide Akeredolu. And to introduce this session, make a presentation for us today is also a he for she that I'm going to call up here to come and do the presentation and introduction of this session is Awasam Jr. Please, a round of applause for Awasam Jr. Awasam Jr. is a journalist, media talent, sports intelligence, and diplomacy expert with a vested career in sports business, governance, and management. He is known for his impact and contributions to the involvement and development of African athletes across the board, and for advocating alongside many celebrities and personalities. Ladies and gentlemen, He is also known for his mind-blowing analysis on media platforms and conferences across the globe, and for bringing the sport of American football to Cameroon and impacting the sport globally, where he's currently serving as continental chairperson for Africa at the International Federation of American Football. Ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause for our son Junior as I give him the mic to do a short presentation, I think 2 minutes presentation to introduce this session.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy, very happy, very grateful. I feel at home. I feel like I've been here. It's not because I see familiar faces. Football is a family for both men and women and children. Your president here, they call him Baba. There's a reason why they call him like that. He's a father, a brother, okay? And a brother that has sisters, that believes in his mom, believes in family. That is why I'm here. If Baba didn't believe in family, I wouldn't be here. And I want a round of applause for everybody that's been here since morning, please. Everybody. Everybody that's been working so hard. I mean, I'm flattered because even the kids that I saw at the field yesterday during the practice session, they're here. So can you clap for yourself, please? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Now, let me get to the subject proper because I can hold this microphone all day if I'm allowed. This is one statement. Set realistic goals, keep reevaluating, and be consistent. This is Venus Williams. She's the one that made this statement. He says it all. Everybody in this hall believes in something. I believe that the root of a society is the woman. The woman, they say the man is the head, but the woman is the neck that make the head spin. Without the neck, can the head spin? So the woman is that catalyzer. And in every aspect. So all the ladies in this room, next time when I come here, I want to see baby football players. Very important. And then more to that fact, I love the enthusiasm. Your president said it and you guys think it's a joke. In the US, you can know the number of players from Nigeria that are playing the NFL. They have the highest figures. The Olympics, if there were Olympics that will come, I will not be surprised. The NBA, I'm sure American football will beat the NBA, especially flag football. Do you guys know why? It's an inclusive sport. It's a sport that makes you believe in yourself. That strengthens your mind strength, gives you that ability to be successful and be a good citizen. Africa needs good citizens. We don't need things that don't evaluate or that don't value us. You are playing a sport that values that much. That is why you have that enthusiasm to go back to the field. That's why you are pestering your coaches that are sitting out here that I see. That coach, when is the next practice? Oh, Mr. President, when is the next tournament? Oh, my good brother Lawrence, you know, what are we doing next? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want too much of your time, but I'm going to be here. So if you need to talk, no problem. But I want to thank everybody, the panelists that spoke before me. Above all, I want to thank Mr. President, you and your staff for all this wonderful thing that you've done today. We've learned a lot, and I really give glory to God, and I thank you so much. So God bless your mom as well, because I saw her. If she's still in the hall, if she's gone, no problem, but God bless her. She's a hero. She's a wonderful lady, and I pray that from what she said, you guys must have learned something. Thank you very much.
If I didn't stand near him like that, you know, the work what would they do? Now the work what would they do? This is our job. We can talk. Talk is our work. So we can talk from today till tomorrow. So I had to just stand near him there. He said he's not talking. He didn't talk at all. All right, please let's clap for them. A big round of applause for them. Okay, right now permits me to call on the chairman of this session. Is no other person than Chu. Please give it up for him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to hand over this mic to the chairman of this session to take control of this session. And this session is going to take 20 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm nervous, guys. I'm nervous. I'm actually nervous. Like, look at all these big people here, all these accomplished people in flag football. And I just want to know, like, I know flag football is a team sport, right? And I hope you guys will support me in this session. And when you want to support someone, you say, I got your back, right? Is that what you say? So I just want to know, who's got my back? Who's got my back? Who's got my back? Who's got my back? See all that swag. See all that swag. Who's going to catch this ball? Who's going to catch this ball? Let me see some hands. Let me see some hands. I like that. I like that. So much swag. Oh, that ball coming here. Come on. Set. Oh, come on. You're going to let my ball intercepted? Come on. But I love the swag in this room. I want to ask one more question. Who's got that swag? Who's got that swag? Who's got that swag? Who's got that swag? Ladies, make some noise for yourselves, please. Okay, I think I'm a little better now. I'm a little confident now. So we're going to do something very different. We're going to change this panel. We're going to keep it very short, not too much talking from us. We want to listen to you people, okay? So any questions you have, you throw to us, okay? Is that okay? Are we good? All right, cool. Please don't call me Sam in JSS3. I'm in JS3, yeah. All right, so I'm going to throw it to you, gentlemen, right? What about supporting the women, right? So in no particular order, what does support mean? What does true support mean? And how do we go from just talking about it to doing something about it? I'll start with you from the far end. So my good, I'll pass you. I don't know if your hands are good, so I don't want to. So what does true support mean? How do we go from just talking about to doing something about it?
All right. From a professional perspective, as a lawyer, there are certain regulatory frameworks you need to put in place. One of which is legislation and regulations that would enhance women's participation in football, sports in general. Presently, we have a very weak regulatory framework. That needs to change. So how do we walk the talk? I was going to advocate for probably maybe additional women advocacy groups who want to advance the participation of women in sports. But true participation will not come from just the numbers. It's about the action. It's about how you put in structural embodiment of what you are trying to do by probably sponsoring bills to the National Assembly. So I'll give you an example. So one of the gender equality legislations in the United States is the Title X. So it encourages gender participation, equity, or gender participation in sports, and women advancement of women participation in sports in general. So what does it do? So what it does is that it enables them, it brings up the structures that enables them to seek access to justice, access to redress. Issues of sexual harassment, for example, is rife in sports. There was a situation that happened in the World Cup, the Female World Cup in 2022, involving the Spanish FA and a football player who was sexually harassed on the football pitch. She was kissed while the euphoria was going on. So they just won a major tournament, and of course the emotion got high. Everybody was euphoric about the achievement. Then this gentleman steps up and kisses one of the players. Now that case ended up in courts. You won't believe he was found guilty, but curiously, he walked away with what I'll call it just a slap on the wrist, just a 10,000 euros fine. So there was no sanction basically. So such legislation would ensure that people who are harassed get redress speedily. Most people in Nigeria don't speak up because there's a lot of stereotype. A lot of people would hound you and silence you from speaking. So those legislations will go a long way in enhancing women participation in sports. So I would advise most of these advocacy groups to sponsor bills to National Assembly, bills that will go a long way in ensuring that there's access to funding. At the moment, there's no data to measure exactly the quantum of the budgetary allocation for sports that goes to female football associations. There's no data covering that. So what you see is that the men just dominate the whole thing. There's no transparency protocols whatsoever. There's no equity structures that ensures that women get equal access like the men to facilities, to scholarships and all whatnot. So I want to start from a professional perspective. I want to see more regulatory innovations, more regulatory framework that would strengthen the advancement of women participation in football and in sports in general.
All right. So you guys got that right? All right. So for those of you who didn't, he's basically saying that we have weak laws in Nigeria. The laws are not supporting enough women in the country. So we need more people to speak up, to advise people in power to have these laws in place. So if you go home, talk to your parents, try and get the word out there, try and talk in power to put in laws to protect people like me, to protect me, your daughter. That's basically what you're saying.
Absolutely,
yes?
absolutely.
All right, so
can I chime in?
yeah.
Guess I'll be more philosophical and I'll just build on the example you gave with the sexual harassment. And I think for me, when I think about support, especially coming from a man's perspective, it's that sincerity of purpose. And I use that word because, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, most men will support women for the very wrong reasons, 99% of the time. I'm sure by the time the GEMS has grown to 10,000, 20,000 men, suddenly there'll be so many men, I want to be a GEM or I want to work for the GEMS. We know why they are saying they want to work for the GEMS. And so for me, I think it's, there will be a turning point where there will be enough people that have sincerity of purpose that believe that, look, we genuinely want to see this, because we know once there's that parity between male and female participation in sports, whether we've seen it in entrepreneurship and how they say women are better entrepreneurs than men. I mean, there's too much stats to say that if you build the female folk, you're better off as a society, right? And so from that point of view, it's just, look, support for me is more men having a clear sincerity of purpose as to why they want to do what they do, and then they're driving that to its logical conclusion.
So would you like to, Shay hasn't spoken, so let's, would you like to add anything briefly?
Hello? Okay. Just something briefly, right? So I think the two gentlemen have said a lot. From my own point, when it comes to support, sincerity and basically just making sure from the inception, things are put in place. So one thing we started when Nafa started was the huddle way, right? Health, unity, diversity, development, livelihood, and education. And the diversity there is really so that we do not lose our focus. It's very easy for majority to sort of cloud minority. And the way where at inception you're able to actually have the intention and create a framework that always protect the minority, right? And also speaking about in terms of what you call it, sexual harassment, we've gone beyond in terms of introducing guarding policies to make sure, again, the intent is there, to make sure we're not just having to think about it when events happen. We've thought about it, or we've done our best to think about how we can, number one, protect the minority, and number two, help in terms of growth. So one of the other things which we're also doing is a lot of the leagues that exist and a lot of initiatives, even the GEMS itself is an initiative to protect and encourage and support women.
Okay, so Mr. Wasson.
I really appreciate what everyone here have said. Remember that we are in the African context.
Yes.
And in the African context, the first academician is the family. You guys had the chance to witness a mom speak this morning. If you had listened to her, I mean, this is a question, I mean, her presentation had all the answers. I'm just going to add just a little bit to it to say that most groups or most sports organizations, you must have rules of engagement. And beyond the rules of engagement, you must have support groups for women. Meaning that what? Young girls cannot train just like young guys, because some young girls that have complexities. They feel insecure. Sometimes they don't have that motivation. And for them to be at ease, they need to have that environment that can allow them to express themselves. And to have that environment to express themselves, they need to have that support group. It can be within the federation, it can be within an organization, it can be within a working group, so that to allow when they have a problem, maybe they don't want to talk to the coach or to some other guy, they have that support group that they can go to and feel comfortable to express themselves and have a solution to their problem. The second thing that I would like to add now, which is the last one, is that when you go out to the world, you have to know who you are and where you are going and what you want. Once you know that, the people that can help you achieve, somebody spoke of meaning that what? Mentors, young girls. You guys are making noise over there. Huh? Over there, you guys are making noise. I will make that whole section give me 10 push-ups. Seriously.
Or writing names of
because
noisemakers.
this is very, very important. This is very, very important. In the morning, we were speaking how mentorship is very, very important. And you young kids that are out there, you need to pay attention to this because tomorrow you'll be in that problem. You need to have an elder sister or mom that can mentor you, that can guide you. But this is after you've set your basis. You've set your basis in a very high note. I want to play football. I want to go to school. And I want to be successful. Now, if you have conditioned yourself that way, now you have elder brothers and sisters that can accompany you as mentors. In your sports organization, I just said a few minutes ago, you can have what you call a support group to help orientate you, guide you, and resolve every issue that you might have. I think that's one of the best ways that you can support women in sports. And I don't know how the other people do it in surprises because they have mostly regulations, but sometimes those regulations are on paper and they're not really practical. What is practical is what we do every day. Thank you.
Okay, so before I round of applause, please round of applause. Before I continue, you heard him. We need to listen, guys. We need to listen. We're taking names of noisemakers. After this session, we're going to ask questions. You ask us questions, but we're going to ask questions. You spotted them. We'll give them a warning. You're going to give us questions. We're going to ask you questions. If you can get the questions right, you leave here with a prize. Is that okay? Is that okay? It's like only this place is ready. Is that okay over here? Cameraman, you're allowed to ask your questions so you can take the prize from them. Because I don't think they're ready, right? So everybody is allowed, not just you guys. You have to be competitive. So, Mr. Wasum, you talk about systems, you talk about structure. I have a question for Mr. Obatolu. You're leading Nigeria's American Football Olympic efforts, right? So how do you plan on prioritizing women in these structures, in the system, in these efforts towards that Olympic journey? What are the plans of Nafa?
Thank you. That's a very good question. So the real answer is prioritizing women is not something we're doing, right? It's something that has started from inception, right? So it's not a matter of, okay, we need to prioritize women now. It has always been in the plan, right? I know we've had several meetings around the Olympics, and we've always been very adamant that we will not have a male team without a female team featured. And that has been the ultimate. And that's why even previous camps before this year, we've always had male and female come to camp, right? Because the intention has always been to have the two teams ready. Because to be honest, a lot of people focus what I said before about minority, having majority in terms of male-dominated, what you call it, theories. You keep having pressure from different areas. So the male side of the sport is always covered, right? But us being intentional about our purpose and being intentional about the fact that we needed to have both male and female on the national team meant when it became time to set up teams for Olympic, it was natural to us. It wasn't something we had to think about. Our own motto is if you go through the huddle way, right? Huddle way is one of the key parts is diversity and unity, right? We're going to give females as much opportunities as we give males. That's why today you can see in the rooms we have people from referees, coaches, players, and I think testament to the national team is the fact that a lot of at least 50% of those that are coming into the camp came from day one, preliminaries within Nafa. And this was a lot of years ago. So that's to tell you that the vision and the goal is not just today. It's something that we've thought about a while back, and it's just now we're glad and we're happy that people are beginning to see that materialize.
So you mean to tell me that Nafa is not going to start? Nafa has already started. The men in Nafa have already started supporting these young ladies from day one. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yes. And I think from day one, as I said, we have coaches, refs. We also have athletes that have been with us from day one.
That's very special because I don't see that in a lot of other sports. For perspective, I'm a media personality. Some of the things I cover is sports. And I haven't seen this level of support from the men right off out of the gates. So what he's trying to say, if I had to speak in TikTok terms to you ladies, he's trying to say that these guys, they say you should wait. They don't love you like they love you. They don't love you like, nobody else loves you like Nafa loves you. Round of applause for them, please. Yeah, we do TikTok over here. Well, I'm one of them. You guys don't know what that is? We'll teach them. I think we should do a TikTok dance before. Is that okay? Yeah. Who's picking the dance? We'll have that after this session, all right? Those other ladies that have left, they're not as cool as this man. They're not as cool as us. So, Steve, your honor, if I may.
I'm not your honor.
Everybody that is in the legal profession, according to us in TikTok, your honor, you're very...
That accolade belongs to people on the bench. I am a member of the bar.
So you're a learned professional.
Absolutely.
Very nice, very nice. We've learned something today. You just don't go around calling anybody your honor, okay? Is that right? So how should we address you? Mr. Steve. What are we doing? Can we do my learned friend?
That's fine.
So can we say my learned friend? So my learned friend, Steve.
Yes.
From a legal standpoint, what is that one action men can take to really level the playing field?
Well, for me, again, I speak as a professional.
A learned professional.
So I will give you an example. Sometime in 2017, I personally took up a pro bono case. Pro bono simply means it is free of charge. So I got this lady who is so enthusiastic about women empowerment in sports. And what was the bone of contention? She was dissatisfied with the way the Falcons, the Super Falcons, were being treated. We have issues of unpaid allowances, unpaid salaries, discrepancies in treatment. When the Super Eagles are flying chartered flights, they are taking commercial flights. So it became a big issue, and she approached me and said, "What should we do?" I said, "We'll file a public interest litigation." So that public interest litigation is simply something you file in courts, not for your benefit, but for the betterment of the public. So she wanted to bring that action against or on behalf of the Super Falcons. But we had a hurdle. What was the hurdle? The hurdle was navigating some of the legal technicalities around that area, which is convincing the courts that you have an interest before you approach the court. The courts will not grant you what you are asking for, except you have sufficient interest in what you are fighting. So this particular lady is not a member of the Super Falcons. So the court simply said, sorry, you don't have the standing, the local standing to prosecute this matter. That matter died. So to answer your question, what I will do is that I will continue to put up some of these initiatives by putting in place. We do that a lot in my office, where we sometimes take up public interest litigation, take up advocacy programs that would advance a particular section or a particular set of the economy, like this discussion we're having now. So I am a very big sports person, and this is something I believe in. So I started by saying that we can sponsor bills that will be passed into law in the National Assembly, even up to the state level. So my office also can also take up, additionally, take up the issue of providing legal services, preparing the document that would address some of these concerns will be done by Person and Grace free of charge. So that's our contribution.
Help me tell them that they should take Nafa's legal things free of charge too.
Excuse me, they told me to tell you that you should take Nafa's affairs free of charge.
No, we'll have that discussion after the father session. He knows.
We can have it now. Just.
No, he knows. He knows. It's a confidential discussion.
Confidential.
It's a confidential discussion.
All of us won't tell. You guys won't tell Abby. We won't tell, so we can talk about. It will be a secret between all of us here. All right, so we'll get back to you. We'll find you.
No
after.
problem. No problem.
So, Baba, since you spoke and you have the mic, what lessons do you think other leaders can take in making women the center of grassroots sports development?
That's the
That's what you do when he is like, he just does it from his heart. He has never thought about it. But now you must, what lessons can other people learn?
Man, I guess it goes back to what I said in the beginning. Because I would, I guess I would say a quote that if anyone follows me on Instagram, it's on my IG, and it's a friend of mine that's a rapper, and he says, I don't do it for the money, I don't do it for the fame, I just do it because nobody else is doing it the same. And what that's supposed to mean is, again, it's not for self. I guess some level of benevolence and altruism is at the core of why, again, we would even set up in Nafa in the first place. And again, we'd self-fund this thing from 2019 to maybe three months ago. So you do have a circumstance where I think, again, a lot of people have whatever reasons they set up what they do for whatever reasons. I would say, again, and like you said, like, look at my boss here, my chairperson. His passion for the sport takes priority over everything else. I mean, when I told him come to Nigeria, it was like this. And so many of us in that Africa context, at least if you look at everybody that's driving a sport that is so new, you know that we're driven by passion. So maybe now that I'm just rambling now, maybe the biggest thing for me is, again, like you said, not just coming from the heart. So the idea of whatever passion drove you to pursue this thing, always continue to, source from that. because you can end up getting very distracted, right? You can imagine Nafa can become so huge, we all become arrogant. You can now say, do you know who I am? I'm the founder of this thing, right? Those you might end up finding yourself in that boot, in that position. But you should always remember, well, I did this because I love to play the sport, right? I enjoy this thing, and I want to see other people have fun like me. I want to be able to watch a game and shout touchdowns. That's why we do what we do. So I want to be able to do it in Ibadan. I want to do it in anywhere I go to in Nigeria. I want to be able to know I can go for a game and enjoy it. So I think for me, the biggest thing is, that well of passion. If that is how you started your journey, never let that well dry. I think that's what I'll say.
I like that. Round of applause for that. I like that response. I saw myself on the TV. Why did you take it? Oh my God, that's me. Sorry, I need to focus. Yes. Okay, so back to you guys. We've done a lot of talking on here. Anybody have any questions for the panel? Anybody have any questions? Raise your hand. I'll hand you a mic. Anybody with questions? Nobody with questions? So you guys understood. You don't have anything at all you want to ask? On football. You can ask in general. Yeah. No? You sure? It's not a question. Okay. So none of my ladies, you have questions for us? You're disappointing me.
Everyone. I just want to use this opportunity to appreciate Nafa and their co-convener, Brownsnigeria, for this wonderful program they have put together. And I also want to use this opportunity to also appeal to Nafa that we in the FCT, we are really interested in this sport. We are doing it just as they brought the sport to us. We're also making efforts to ensure that we reach out to as many kids as possible. And we also require your support, please. We want maximum support. We have lots of kids that really want to be engaged in this sport, especially the female, the girl child. You can imagine we have like a training session that's of like 30 kids with 10 flags, one ball, So it somehow makes our practice sessions very, very boring. And when maybe Aisha couldn't get a flag today, tomorrow she won't come. Yesterday I didn't get a flag, So please, Nafa, please help us in the FCT. We really want your support because we love American flag football. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Blessing Suleiman.
If I can quickly address that, as you know, it's not easy to try to develop this sport in, I think now 17 states. Everybody needs flags, everybody needs balls. But we can authoritatively state here that in the coming months, at least for 2025, maybe 200 schools should be getting flags and balls. 200. And it's not, don't be happy for me. It's the same Brownsnigeria. The Browns have graciously agreed to provide balls and flags for basically the first 200 schools now. Then next year, as we grow, we'll continue to expand the numbers. So they're guaranteeing that every year for the next 4 years, basically every school will get a ball and a flag and a set of flags from them. So, yeah.
Excuse me, sir. See, all of these people that did not ask questions, their schools are not getting flags.
Fair enough. I think we know all the schools already, so good.
Yeah. You didn't have any questions to ask. She came all the way from Abuja to ask for flags, and now you're getting flags soon. Okay. Yeah. So you have something to say?
Yeah. Because we're running out of time. I want to thank Mr. President. I want to thank you, and to support Mr. President. Before I leave here, madam, I have 2 footballs for you. So no, just one practice, okay? Before I leave here, I have 2 footballs for you. Mr. Lawrence is in the hall. Yeah, he's there. So I can give to Lawrence, he gives to you, okay? I want to support, because Mr. President is doing a lot of work, and it's not easy for him to get all this equipment. But I know he has a strategy to go gradually, and he's gaining grounds little by little. So thank you, madam. I think we'll do everything possible to support you guys. Keep mobilizing, please. Don't stop. Keep mobilizing. Thank you.
When I saw his outfits, I knew this is an Odogu Parara. An Odogu what? Odogu what? Thank you very much. Oh, Odogu Parara. All right, so one more question. We'll take one more question. Anybody? Anybody with a question? You have something to say? Do you have?
Good afternoon, sir. And good afternoon, everyone. My director, Ma. In short, I'll say I'm loaded. Nafa, thank you very much. To me, personally, Nafa has done a great thing in my life. Yes, thank you very much. Let me go straight to mine. It's not questions, sir. It's just a request. You know, as they say, you can't give what you don't have. You only give what you have. As a coach, we believe we need more training. Not only a theory training, but a practical one. Just like yesterday when you were taking us, I so much enjoyed myself. You only correct your athletes when you know what to correct them on. So, sir, please, my president, my vice president, we the coaches, we are clamoring for more training, not just 1 week or 2 weeks, but an intensive training that will make us to make an impact in our young ones. Thank you very much.
So I think that's about it. We're going to do some quizzes, but it looks like our time is up. We're going to do some quizzes for the guys. You can, for the ladies, you know, guys, ladies, our people are here, but you can take it away, my madam.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's good to have you here. Thank you. I'll call you, all of you, the E4 She-Men. Thank you for seeing value, virtue in the women, in the feminine gender. And thank you for supporting and, you know, being there to do this. Please, photo session right now. Just a minute. Just a minute. All right, thank you very much. Okay, we're winding down right now. Thank you for your patience. We appreciate you. It's been a beautiful event. You agree with me, isn't it? Has it been a beautiful event? Okay, if you enjoyed yourself, if you had fun, shout Nafa! The Gridiron Gems. Is that Gridiron Gems we shout? Gridiron Gems! All right, once again, it's good to remind us that the event today has been the program launch of the Gridiron Gems. The theme has been She Hurdles, She Wins, empowering women through American football. It's been a national flagship initiative of the Nafa and the Brownsnigeria. So please, we're going to have the vote of thanks. Don't be in a hurry to go. After the vote of thanks, we're going to have the closing prayer that we really appreciate to have a photo session with everyone here. And we're going to do it, we're going to be orderly about it. So we're going to do it here. And after that, we still have some snacks for you outside. It's going to be a time to network. It's going to be a time to network. It's going to be a time to mingle. So this afternoon, I have been your anchor. I've been the moderator of this event. My name is Yinka Kenny. You can follow me on all my pages. Yinka Kenny. Every other Yinka Kenny is a counterfeit. Just go on internet, look for Yinka Kenny on Instagram, Yinka Kenny on Instagram, Yinka Kenny 1, on Facebook, Yinka Kenny, and on YouTube, Yinka Kenny World. It's Yinka Kenny all over. I have been your host today. You folks call me YK, and I'm a TV host with NTA2. Right now, I want to call on Ojaide Lawrence. He is the Secretary General and Head Operations of Nafa. So please come out to give us a vote of thanks. Okay. Is anyone that got here and refused to use the staircase? He jumped off.
Yes. All right, everybody. First, I want to thank you, Yinka, for the introduction. God bless you. Again, I want to, first of all, say we thank God for a day like this. I know today is marking the beginning of greatness in our females in American flag football. So a round of applause for that. I want to also thank our special guest, Awasum, the Africa Director for IFAF, who has represented American football greatly in Africa, and now representing Cameroon here in Nigeria, and also representing IFAF, the world body. Let's give you a round of applause, please. Yes. Again, I want to thank my presidents, my vice, the entire board of Nafa, the board of advisory, represented by Dr. Oluwasomi, who is currently here in our midst. Let's give them a round of applause. Again, Lagos State. Without Lagos State, we would not have been here. Lagos State, everything starts here and then goes to other places. Yes. My president said it, we are now in over 17 states. Before the end of the year, what am I even saying? Before mid of this year, that is June, we should be covering over 24 states. But we are over 16, over 17 as we speak right now. So that's to say that Lagos have given birth and it is spreading like wildfire. So we thank God for everything so far. I want to thank our presenter, Chure Yinka. Again, our first lady, our mother, who may have had some emergencies to attend to or more urgent things to attend to. Please let's give her a round of applause for being able to make it to this place to support us. We really, really appreciate them. All our special guests who are still here and those who have gone, I want to say a big thank you to you. And I want to say that all the things that you all have given to us seated here today, we are going to make them, everyone here, the ladies that are here, if you are happy to be here and you have really benefited from today, let me hear you say, yay! Yes. And that thing you have benefited will definitely materialize in a way that you'll be happy you were here today. I pray that for you. So again, a big thank you to everybody. God bless you for coming. Nafa appreciates you a lot, and Nafa will continue to do greater things. This is just the beginning of greatness. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. He's gone down the way he came. He's the only sportsman out of all the people that spoke today. All right, so we've come to the end of this event today. A very big thank you. And I want to specially say thank you to the president of Nigerian American Football Association for believing in me to be able to anchor this event. I do not take it for granted. Thank you very much. Once again, my name is Yinka Kenny, and my colleagues call me YK. I work with NTA2. I'm a TV host. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being our guest. And this is where we call it a wrap. So let us all be on our feet as we take the national anthem. want to go. Tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be our symbol, that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To add unto our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant these our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed. God bless Nigeria. Okay, please, I'm sure you have your hamper with you. Please, all the ladies, please put on your t-shirt for the group pictures. Please don't go. Let's take a group picture. So I like the officials. Where's the president? Okay, please let the officials come forward. Let our special guests also come forward.
Somebody come work out. I did on my own. I remember my team, that big party, breakfast, lunch, dinner, we drink curry. Now they want to snap pictures and live fashion. You will stop me, in what Pelutani? Impossible, every day is a celebration. This one for all my people that couldn't make it. Spent nights on the blue.
Please, let's have the Nafa officials.